ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। Welcome everybody. Again, so nice to see you. So one day I was just thinking, we have in last 5 years I've been in Canada and we have discussed quite a number of topics there. You can see all that in our channel. So one day I was thinking that if somebody just comes, and asks, what is spiritual life? So how could we explain that? And I started thinking a little. So I had come in contact with the teachings of Swami Vivekananda when I was just a student. So the one thing which I liked, not only I, everybody appreciated about his writings was that he doesn't tell us to believe anything without thinking. So all his talks, if you see, they are so logically formulated. One step by one step he takes us. And we were studied in English medium schools, and also we thought ourselves to be logical. So that, because in India, you see, when we were young, everybody asks us, parents ask us, oh, go to the temple, especially on birthdays and other occasions, etc. But nobody explained why should you go to the temple. Bow down to the image. Why? Why bow down to an image made of stone or whatever? So this inquisitiveness was there, and many people, think that this is the way it should be. What's there to question about? That's just a tradition and all. But when we first came in contact with Swami Vivekananda, then only we realized, because his way of presentation is unique, as you know. So what could be a logical answer to this question? What is spiritual life? How can we relate it to our present condition? How all human lives have to lead today or tomorrow to spiritual life. So rishis and saints have said, you can do whatever you like, but at the end, this is the goal of man. This is the goal of human beings. So why? What is the answer? So I've tried to present the answer in this presentation, which, of course, most of it is Swami Vivekananda's words, and from some other sources I've also have taken. But first, you must be knowing that the questions on which we have not thought ourselves, even if given the answer to that, it won't really benefit us. To really appreciate the answer to a question, we must have thought about it ourselves first. Then the answer, when it is revealed, it really gains a place in our hearts. So that's why I want to ask you people. Please think and give me whatever answer you may think fit. If somebody asks you what is spiritual life, what will you say? That's a very good answer. Yeah, but you think for yourself. Don't borrow his thoughts. One with God, one with the universe. My goodness, that's a. Then I have nothing left to say now. That is, you have gone to the absolutely pinnacle. So Problem is, if a newcomer who doesn't know anything about all this, what God are you talking about? Suppose he asks us, have you seen God? You are talking about God. So what will you answer? Of course, that is the final answer. That is, it's all correct. There is no question. Okay, no problem. No, that is in practice. That is, you have told the what is to be practiced when is somebody is following a spiritual life. That is a different thing. No, this is the same answer. That yeah, it is correct, but that is not what we are seeking for. No, you are saying the giving the same answer as they have done. You it may be playing the tabla. For me, it may not be. No. Think a little. From that left side, nothing is coming.
Go to the gym and all this, walk and run, all these things. But do you do anything for our mind? So this, a journey in the spiritual life, is something to strengthen your mind.
Mind you can strengthen by so many ways. Why only spiritual life? So many ways. Training of the mind, many people train the mind in so many ways. Even doing mathematics will train the mind. You're next.
No, I'm just thinking it's just my way of life, from raising my kids to going to work and trying to do it in a way.
My way will not do. Your way may not be his way.
No, but applying Thakurma Swamiji, what we read, what we learn every day, trying to apply that and live my life that way, so that I'm at the end of the day maybe happy, fulfilled, and if not, then again reset and try to do a better job.
That is all correct, but that doesn't go to. We want a universal answer. My way means what? Your way may not be my way.
True. It's just my journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maharaji, I think to find the purpose of life.
All these are correct answers. I'm not denying. Yeah. What? Too close? Mic is too close or too far? Too far?
Maharaj, we have been told we do not know whether this is our last birth or it is, I have another 1 million birth.
I don't even believe in reincarnation. I don't believe in reincarnation.
But let me say this. We do not know whether it is our last birth or another 1 million birth I have to go. But somebody said, I tend to think that it is Thakur who said, at the end of all the cycle, everybody will be able to realize.
I don't believe in cycles. Suppose you give the answer to someone who doesn't believe in reincarnation, then what will you say?
So my thinking is basically, as human beings, we suffer a lot from different things, and we want to
yes.
We want to detach from all these sufferings and everything.
That is a good answer. Close.
So, yeah, then spiritual life will lead us to Isolate from the external
Close
world.
a little. You have talked about the aim, so it's close. It's not all answers are correct. We are not denying, because all of you are devotees of this great center, so naturally all are correct answers. Anyway, this is I am presenting. Whether you will appreciate or not, it depends upon you. So I've just tried to combine the words of saints and sages in some sort of an answer, which is based on the experiences of even an ordinary man. Because many things we have said, but we as devotees believe in those things. But a person coming from different circumstances, suppose he says, I don't believe your first premise itself, then what will he answer? So the answer should be based on something which is a universal experience. Everybody experiences that. So there is no denying it. So one thing we see, everybody, regardless of our beliefs, what do we see? As soon as a baby is born, a child is born, it starts expressing its wants. So it starts for searching for something. It wants something. It wants to know as it grows even little bigger. It wants to nourish its body. So there are some wants. We cannot deny it. As he grows older, the wants become more pronounced and more well defined. So this is a universal experience. For this, you need not believe in anything. And when it grows a little bigger, then it also feels that he or she cannot do anything he likes. There are some boundaries. So he begins to feel, consciously or unconsciously, that he is bound. He cannot do what he wants. He is not what he wants to be. So this was taught to him at the very moment he began to look around. Parents had said, don't go there. Don't do this. Don't act in such a way. Don't eat this. Don't talk in this way. So as soon as he becomes a little bigger, he realizes it is taught to him the very moment he begins to look around. That very instance he learns that he is bound. But along with this, there is also the feeling in the child that, in the adult, in everyone, that there is something in him which wants to fly beyond, where even his body cannot go. He wants to break all limitations. Mankind hates to be bound by laws. If he can, as soon as he gets a chance, he'll break a law. So when the sign is there, speed limit 60, everyone will have to drive between 65 to 70. Rarely you will find a person's needle set 60. Just a little more freedom, so that I don't get caught, but I can have a little more freedom. So this is an expression of freedom. So we see two things here. First, even a newborn baby starts wanting something. In the baby's cry is also a symbol of wanting. He is not satisfied. Secondly, this feeling of being bound awakens in him as soon as he begins to understand things. Thirdly, all of us, all human beings, without exception, they know that they are bound in many frontiers, but there is in all of us this desire to break free, and this is expressed in our day-to-day activities. We go to the limit, we stop only, we know that beyond this, if I go, I'll be in jail, or some other harm may come to me. So This basic urge, how to analyze it? Our saints and sages have stopped at nothing. They go to the root of the matter. They don't take anything for granted. So this phenomenon, we will say, what is so strange about it? Baby will cry when it is born, baby will want this, want that. But why? Why should it not still sit still? What is the reason? We never inquire about these things. But our sages inquire into every little thing. Everything must have a reason. It must be pointing to something else. So they found that even in a newborn child, there are three basic urges. First is the urge to maintain its status as a living being, which is called astitva. Astitva cannot be translated in such a simple way. We can just say existence. To maintain his existence. If somebody tries to cause even a baby harm, he will immediately withdraw because he sees that my existence is in danger. So, first is this urge to maintain one's existence. Then it takes the form of to stay alive. I don't want to die. I want to remain. This is the first basic urge. So, what's the second one? Second one is, as soon as a child becomes a little big also, there is no end to his or her questions. Why is this happening? What is this thing? Always searching. So what does this mean? What does this urge signify? This urge is the urge for knowledge. Is it not? What is the third urge? We all know. That is, if you give a child some healthy food to eat, he may not eat, but he wants chocolates. He wants some sweet things, ice creams, etc. So the third urge is the urge for happiness. It wants to be happy. If you do something which goes against this happiness, it will begin to cry. So these three urges, happiness comes from, there can be no universal definition of happiness at that level, but we try to get happiness from either human beings or objects or circumstances. These three are our sources of happiness. So ideas of happiness may differ. For some persons, happiness may be eating a pizza, some person watching a movie, some person studying philosophy, and of course there are degrees of happiness and satisfaction. But this cannot be denied that as soon as we are born, we try to be happy. So these three basic things, whether you believe in any philosophy or not, is a matter of experience. As soon as a person is born, these three basic urges manifest in him. First, desire to stay, desire to maintain his existence. Second, desire to gain more and more knowledge, know about things. 3 is the desire to be happy. So, why should it be so? We never question. It is just what it is. We take it for granted. But there must be answer. This is one aspect. Secondly, a child searches to satisfy these three things. To remain alive, to gain knowledge, and for happiness in the external world. All of us. Gain knowledge, go to books, go to a teacher. Maintaining your status, try to be healthy, try to avoid dangerous places, dangerous things, and be happy. Searching outside. Today going here, today going there, today doing this, tomorrow doing that. We are all searching for this happiness. In people, circumstances and objects. So, first thing which we find as soon as we become even a little mature, that we find there is a wall in all these three things, beyond which we try to get these three things, but we find that however much we try, there is a wall beyond which we are not able to go, although we are trying every day. So we find what? We find a contradiction. We want something, but there is some obstacle. It is the nature of things that we cannot go beyond a certain point in all these three. So first is existence, quest. We always want to exist. And we think that if our bodies are alive, we'll be alive because we are identifying ourselves with our bodies. So when we think that we will die when the body is dead. So attempts are being made. You will see all those ads. Do this for a long life. Do this exercise for a long life. Eat this for a long life. So we are so eager to extend our life. Why? This is the only reason. We don't want to die. And for us, death of the body is dying. So we want to live eternally. But everyone knows that this is not possible. If living in the body only is living, we all know living eternally is impossible. We all have to die one day. The whole world is going towards death. Something is born, it has to die. Something is produced, it has to be destroyed. So Swamiji says, all our progress, our vanities, our reforms, our luxuries, our wealth, our knowledge have that one end, that is death. That is all that is certain. Cities come and go, empires rise and fall, planets break into pieces and crumble into dust, to be blown about by the atmosphere of other planets. Thus it has been going on from time without beginning. Death is the end of everything. Death is the end of life, of beauty, of wealth, and of power. Kings die and beggars die. They are all going to death, and yet this tremendous clinging to life exists. So we are striving for something which we can never get. This is the first contradiction. You cannot live eternally, but all efforts are being made to live eternally. All our plans are made according to that. Second, let us come to knowledge. We all want to gain knowledge in some form or the other. It seems that we can know everything if only we want to know. But before we have gone a few steps, we find a wall which we cannot pass. Swamiji says, all our work is in a circle and we cannot go beyond that circle. The problems which are nearest and dearest to us are impelling us on, calling day and night for a solution. But we cannot solve them. Why? Because we cannot go outside our minds. This mind is the limit. This is the limitation. Beyond that we cannot go, however much we try. But still, the desire for infinite knowledge is implanted, like the desire for eternal life. Third, happiness. So each child is a born optimist. Swami Vivekananda says. He dreams golden dreams. In youth, he becomes still more optimistic. It is hard for a young man to believe that there is such a thing as death, such a thing as defeat or degradation. But old age comes. It has to come. And life is a mass of ruins. Dreams have vanished into the air. Everything we strove for came. We tried to hold it with all our might. We could not. Came, went. People came and went. Circumstances came and went. Joys came and went. Nothing remained. So youthful man of today is seen to become a veteran tomorrow. And sooner or later, if we keep our eyes open, we find that unmixed happiness, unmixed pleasure, which will have no reaction, it's a pipe dream. It cannot be had. Nobody has had. But somehow we are still striving for that. All our goal is, all our lives are. So we are, see what is happening then. These three urges are ingrained in us. We cannot get rid of us. We should not get rid of us. Rid of that. We should not get rid of that. But problem is, we find that these three urges are, although they are implanted, they are impossible to fulfill. So why did God implant those urges? There must be some meaning. So all the happiness, so-called happiness which we find here, lasts only for a few minutes, for a few seconds. This is true of all sense enjoyments, Swamiji says, of all intellectual enjoyments, of all enjoyments of which the human mind is capable. They are nothing. They are within this network beyond which we cannot go. So we may run in this world, keep on running through infinite time. Go on trying for this. We will find no end. There will be no end to our search because it is the nature of the world, these three contradictions, that we cannot find these things. And whenever we struggle to get a little enjoyment, a mass of misery falls upon us. Thus we go on buffeted by nature without knowing where we are going. We never think that I've tried so many times, but I'm not succeeding. So what's wrong? We don't think, but we take it for granted that this is what his life is. There is nothing higher. This is how people are living. So why search for something else? But few discerning men are there. They are not satisfied with that. And they are our saints and sages. They always tell us, examine. Examine. Keep on thinking. There must be some answer. So the great philosopher Socrates, you may be knowing, when somebody asked him a question, he would reply by another question. Why? He said, the answer is within you, but you don't know it. So I am just trying to find the answer within you for you. I am not giving you any information. So examine, he says. And one of the most famous teachings of Socrates is, the unexamined life is not worth living. There is no difference between a man who doesn't think what he's doing and between an animal. And the Upanishads also, goes without saying, have this attitude. So there is a very famous verse in the Upanishads, Pariksha lokan karma chitan brahmano nirvedamaya. Pariksha, examine everything. Pariksha lokan, examine all these three worlds. In our tradition, we believe in three worlds, Patal and this world and then higher spheres. Examine them. Don't take them at face value. Don't go blindly. Don't imitate others. Think for yourself. And of course, think on the basis of scriptures. Pariksha lokan. And when you examine thoroughly, then you will reach only one conclusion, that these three desires, the desire for infinite eternal existence, infinite happiness, and infinite knowledge, can never be satisfied in this world. You will find what? In the words of Swami Vivekananda, you will find that the whole life is a tremendous contradiction. Because within this world, immortality is impossible, to know everything is impossible, and unmixed and eternal happiness is impossible. Not only that, nothing remains here. Nothing is stable here. So in Sanskrit, the word is Shana Bhangur. Shana. A moment. Everything remains only for a moment. There is nothing which is constant even for a moment. That science also tells us. All the subatomic particles are always in motion. So Sri Ramakrishna used to tell Holy Mother that if the world was eternal, if the world was real, I would have covered Kamarpukur with gold. And he could also do it, we know. But I know it's of no use, he said. Nothing will remain here. And there is another incident you must have heard of Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. They were very, very great saints, followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Rupa Goswami was living in Vrindavan. And he was a great devotee. His brother was with the Nawab of Bengal, and he was a mantri, what is called the chief there. So he saw that his brother was immersed in all sorts of worldly dealings, worldly things. So since he loved his brother, he wrote a Sanskrit verse to him. It just very short. It just said, "My brother, just think, the great Nagari, great kingdom of Ayodhya, where is it now? So know that nothing remains in this world." So just this small, because he was also a very great soul, his brother, that this small verse was enough to awaken him. And he gave up everything and devoted his life to spiritual pursuits. So in the Indian tradition, this is well known. Even our songs, even our movie songs have this idea, what to speak of scriptures. So there is a very old song which gives us this message. And it is not from some scripture. So it has been sung by none other than Muhammad Rafi. So you can make out. But very beautiful. It says the same thing. लाख दारा और सिकंदर हो गए, आज बोलो वो कहाँ सब खो गए, आई हिचकी मौत की और सो गए, आई हिचकी मौत की और सो गए, हर किसी का है बसेरा चंद रोज है बहारे बागे दुनिया चंद रोज. All this beauty, it is only for 2 days. So what's the solution then? Can we never find what we are searching for? This is all our life. This is our fate, being born, being again dying. Finding, not searching, go on suffering like this, unfulfilled remain throughout our life. If this was truth, I think you better take some water, sir. You can take some water, no? He's constantly coughing. Yeah. So if there was no solution, there would be no sense in living. Hoping against hope, searching and never finding, and ultimately dying with desires in our heart. Fortunately, there is a solution. Swami Vivekananda says. He asks, he himself raises the question. I quote him. Is a human being a tiny boat in a tempest? This language you just see. Is a human being a tiny boat in a tempest, raised one moment on the foamy crest of a billow and dashed down into a yawning chasm the next, rolling to and fro at the mercy of good and bad actions? A powerless, helpless wreck in an ever raging, ever rushing, uncompromising current of cause and effect. A little moth placed under the wheel of causation, which rolls on, crushing everything in its way, and waits not for the widow's tears or the orphan's cry. Is a human being only this much, completely at the mercy of his own karma, of the vagaries of nature? The heart sinks at the idea. Yet, this is the law of nature. We all know. Is there no hope? Is there no escape? That we are all miserable, that this world is really a prison, that even our intellects and minds are prison houses, have been known for ages upon ages. There never has been a human being, never has been a human soul who has not felt this some time or the other, however he may talk. And the old people feel it most because in them is the accumulated experience of a whole life. They cannot be easily cheated by the lies of nature. So is there no way out? Fortunately, there is a way out. But not in this world. The solution is not in this world. Our problem is we are searching for something where it can never be found. So, saints tell us the answer to the question we raised right at the beginning, that why a child, as soon as he is born, we see that he wants to retain his existence, wants to be happy, and wants knowledge. So why? There is an answer. Why all of us want to live forever? Why do we have this desire? The saints and sages say the answer is because you are really immortal. You will never die. You have never been born. So there is no question of dying. Your real essence cannot be destroyed, they say. Achedyoyam adayoyam akledyo shoshevacha nitya sarvagata sthanur achaloyam sanatana. Shri Krishna says right in the second chapter, he gives the highest knowledge to Arjuna, that neither you have been born, nor are you going to kill somebody, nor are those people going to die if their bodies are destroyed. You have always been there and they have also always been there. So, when we are trying to live forever, what are we doing? We are actually trying to attain our original nature. We are trying to be immortal, but in the wrong way. So, saints tell us the right way. In the same way, they say that you want to know everything in the world. Why? Because you are of the very nature of knowledge. You don't gain knowledge actually. You are knowledge itself. Infinite knowledge is your nature. Actually, you don't have to gain knowledge from outside. Like in Prakritim Paramam, the Stotra on Holy Mother, what it is said about Mother. Pavitrita Swarupa. So there are two different things. One is being pure, another is being purity itself. So if somebody is purity itself, There is no question of being pure or not. Is it not? So they say that your knowledge itself, immortality, you want to be immortal, your existence itself. No question of your ever losing your existence. Third thing, so you know what we are leading up to. We want to be happy, we dislike misery. So saints and sages tell, you are of the nature of bliss. You don't have to get bliss from outside. Your very nature is blissful. That is called Ananda Swarupa. Bliss itself. We don't need something at all to make us happy. So what follows from this? What are the saints and sages telling us? That your existence itself means you are Sat Swarupa. Your knowledge itself, you are Chit Swarupa. And you are bliss itself. So you are Ananda Swarupa. So you are what? We have heard this term so often, so we know. So they say this is your innermost essence. So our question will be, but I have tried the whole life, I could not find. So the saints and sages tell us, let me answer you through a story. The saints don't tell us, I am telling you, but anyway. So what is the story? There were two sidewalks. One was in darkness. There was a light on the other side. So a person was passing by. He saw a person searching where there was a lamp, sidewalk. So he asked him, sir, have you lost something? Yes, I have lost my ring. I am trying to find it. So he said, oh, was this the place you lost it? No. I lost it on the other sidewalk. You lost it on the other sidewalk and you are searching here. Why? Can't you see that is in darkness? The light is here. So we are doing the same thing. We are trying to find something which is not there at all. But why? Because we think it is easily found. But we can try, go on eternally. He will never find the ring because it was not there. So we will never find what we are searching for here in this world. We may try to make this body live eternally, but it is impossible. So all these things we have already seen. To gain infinite existence or knowledge or happiness is impossible in this world. But we are trying to do it. Why? Because it is difficult to find it in the real place. But just because it is difficult to find doesn't mean we'll search in the wrong place. So all the saints and sages, and of course there is another story. So God wanted play, He likes Leela. So He thought, where should I hide myself that a man has to search for me, a person has to search for me. So He thought, let me go right up in the, go to some other planet, etc. He can never reach there. So someone told him, no. They are inventing all sorts of spacecrafts and all. One has already landed in Mars. So it is not safe for you. Tomorrow they may also find you there. Said, oh, God said, what to do then? Let me go right deep into the ocean somewhere. No. All sorts of ships are being manufactured. Submarines did their, man has sounded the depth of the ocean. So God said, what to do then? Ocean, no. Space, no. So one person told him, you go within a man. Go right deep inside him. And human being's nature is that he always looks outside. So if you go right deep inside him, it is very difficult to find you. Unfortunately, God listened to that person. So, fortunately or maybe unfortunately, we have to decide. Why fortunately? because He is inside us. So He cannot go anywhere. He'll be there when we start seeking for Him earnestly. That is a great solace. What did Jesus say? The kingdom of God is within you. It is not in shopping mall, not in pizza centers, not in Alaska cruises. He is here within you. So, when we are searching for all these outside, what are we doing? We are searching for knowledge. We are searching for knowledge in dead things. Book doesn't have knowledge. See, all these dead things don't have knowledge. If there was no knowledge in us, we could read 100 libraries. We would not gain even a little knowledge. Books are just, Swami Vivekananda says, what are books doing? What is a teacher doing? He is uncovering your own soul. The knowledge you are finding is within. See, suppose knowledge was in some book. So each person, suppose X amount of knowledge is in this book, suppose. So each person who read that book then would have gained the same amount of knowledge. Is it not? But that doesn't happen. Otherwise, the whole class, whole university would score equal marks because all of them have the same book. They will all have gained the same amount of knowledge. But that doesn't happen. One person gains more, another person less. Why? Because one person can reveal the knowledge which is already there to a greater degree. His past sanskaras may be there, some other factors were there, that is not our main question. Question is this: dull, dead matter is outside. How can it give you life? How can it give you knowledge? How can it give you happiness? It is impossible. So if we try to do something impossible, we will fail, no? And we are failing. Same logic can be applied to things which we enjoy, something to eat, something to drink. If this amount of apple juice had this amount of happiness, then everybody would get that happiness. But we also don't get the same kind of happiness. When we drink the first glass of apple juice, suppose the happiness is X. But after 3 glasses, do we get the same kind of happiness? So through logic, it can be easily demonstrated that these things which we are searching for is impossible to find in dull, dead matter. We can search everywhere, all the 3 worlds. We cannot find it. Because it is matter without life. And it can never give us what we are seeking for. So there is a wonderful couplet of Surdas ji, he was a great saint. He says, Aise karat kitay din beete. You are doing the same thing over and over again. Man santosh na paye. You could not find fulfillment. Din din adhik durasa lagi. Sakal lok brahmi aaye. You've gone every pole, south pole, everywhere. But your unfulfillment only increased. You could not say, now I am satisfied. You could not find the thing you were searching for. So, where to search? Again, I quote Swami Vivekananda. He whom the sages have been seeking in all these places is in your own heart. The voice that you heard, the voice of infinite knowledge, infinite peace, happiness, the voice that you heard was right, says the Vedanta. But the direction you gave to the voice was wrong. The ideal of freedom that you perceived was correct. Correct. Because you want to be free, yes, you are correct. But you projected it outside yourself. That was your mistake. Bring it nearer and nearer until you find that it was all the time within you. It was the self of yourself. That freedom was your own nature. And actually, the world never bound you. The world has bound our bodies and minds because they are part of the world. Naturally, they are within law. But your own self, your real self, can never be bound. Nature never has any power over you. The release from all kinds of fear is the goal, he says. Not only to see it intellectually, but to perceive it, actualize it, realize it. Reading from books only won't do. When we do that, then we shall know that we were always free, we were never bound. And then alone, he says, will all difficulties vanish, all the perplexities of the heart be smoothed away, all crookedness made straight, and then will vanish the delusion of manifoldness and nature. That's a famous slok which he is translating. Vidyate hridaya granthi chidyante sarva sanshaya. Shiyasya chasya karmani tasmin drishte paravare. That is the slok of the Upanishads. So he continues, our philosophers have from the very first declared that every manifestation, what you call evolution, man is progressing, no? So all technologies, etc., now AI and all, we say that we are progressing. But ultimately, in our search, he says it is vain. It is a vain attempt of the unmanifest to manifest itself. It cannot. You, the mighty cause of this universe, trying to reflect yourself in little mud puddles. You are the God of the universe. You are the soul behind all this, the soul reality. You are infinite, and you are trying to reflect yourself in these finite things. But after making the attempt for a time, you find that it was all vain. You could not get what you wanted. Then what do? You go back. Retreat. This retreat means, in the Upanishads it says, turning your back. No, I don't want this. So a person, suppose he is addicted to some bad habits, drugs and all that. So he'll go to a rehab home, etc., etc. And after that, what will they tell him? You saw all that. It can only destroy you. Now give it up completely. Turn your back. Don't even look at it. So a person who has achieved that state, real discernment, he has full faith in these teachings, he tallies it with his experiences, what does he do? He turns his back on this world, which is only dull, dead matter. And this turning back is called Vairagya. This turning back is renunciation. That is why all the scriptures say Alpha and Omega of religion is this. Turn back on this world of dead matter, because you will never find what you are seeking here. So Swami Vivekananda says this turning back is Vairagya or renunciation, and the very beginning of spirituality, of religion. So this is your true nature. What? Infinite, eternal existence, infinite knowledge, infinite bliss. This means what? We are not what we think ourselves to be. We are far, far ahead, far, far beyond this small body and mind. We are infinite. So much so that our scriptures say we are part and parcel of God Himself. Swami Vivekananda said in the Parliament of Religions, I quote him, as an inspired Vedic sage stood up before the world and in trumpet voice proclaimed the glad tidings. Glad tidings means no, your life is not in vain. Don't think that this is all you can have. This old age, suffering, death, seeking, not finding. No, this is not your final goal. What did he say? Hear, ye children of immortal bliss, Anandasya, we know that shloka, Amritasya Putra. Hear, ye children of immortal bliss, even ye that reside in higher spheres. I have found the Ancient One who is beyond all darkness, all delusion. Knowing Him alone, you shall be saved from death over and over again. So Amritasya Putra, he says. Shinvantu, you all know that. So he says, children of immortal bliss. What a sweet, what a hopeful name. Allow me to call you, brethren, by that sweet name. What is that? Heirs of immortal bliss. You are the children of God, the sharers of immortal bliss. Holy and perfect beings, divinities on earth. Sinners, it is a sin to call a human being so. Come up, O lions, and shake off the delusion that you are sheep. You are souls immortal, spirits free, blessed and eternal. You are not matter. You are not bodies. Matter is your servant. You are not the servant of matter. But we have made ourselves the servants of matter, running after all these things. If this is true, and of course it is true, then actually within us is that infinite knowledge and bliss we are searching for in inanimate, finite things. So Swamiji says, you are searching for things, happiness in pizzas, burgers, and going here and there. So he says, things are dead in themselves. They are dead. They are matter. So what is giving them the appearance of life? Only consciousness can impart that. So we know that the moon has no light of its own. So where is the light coming from? From the sun. Only sun can give light because it is a light itself. Something which has no light cannot give the moon any light. So we are giving it life because we are that consciousness. Because of us, this seems alive, he says. Things are dead in themselves. Only we give them life. But what do we do after that? He says, like fools, we turn around and either are afraid of them or want to enjoy them. So, the main thing which we are searching for is inside. That is the teaching of all saints and sages. Tulsidas ji says the same thing. I am trying to give all sorts of quotations so that we can relate very easily. He says, Anand Sindhu Madhya Tava Basa. Anand Sindhu, ocean of knowledge. Madhya. In between that, in the middle of that, your Basa. Basa means home. Your home is there. Anand Sindhu Madhya Tava Basa. Binu Jane Kas Marasi Piyasa. You are dying of thirst, being immersed in the ocean of bliss. What is the reason? Reason is Mrig Brahm Bari Satya Jia Jani. The water you saw in a mirage, you thought to be true. And kept on running after it throughout your life. You could not find it because there was no water there. मृग ब्रह्म भारी सत्य जिय जानी तह तू मगन भयो सुख मान. You thought that is the bliss. If it was there, we could have found it, no? Why don't we find it? Because it was never there. So this is the, without just on pure rational thinking, we can arrive at this conclusion. It is our own experience, every one of us. And of course, the saints and sages help us reinforce this so that we may be firmly convinced. So this, then what begins then? When we turn around, matter leads to material. Material means that which deals with matter. Spirit leads to spiritual. Spirit is rather a pure translation, as best is to use the word Atman. So, Atman leads to spiritual. And what is the Sanskrit word for spirituality? We all know. What is it? No, spiritual life, suppose you say, we will call it Adhyatma Jivana. Adhyatma Jivana. See, Atma is there, that word is there. So, Adhyatma is made up of two words, Adhi and Atma. So, material means what? Concerning matter, is it not? So, Adhi means concerning, and Atma means the soul, as you very well know. So, what is spiritual life? Spiritual life is the life which concerns itself only with the Atman, not with this world. So, spiritual life is not going to a temple, ringing the bell to get God's attention and tell him, God, please give me at least 10,000. I am giving you 10 now, right here. In advance, I am giving you 10. But please give me that. Then give me a nice wife, give me a very good son. After the son is dead, then you please give me a good job. That is not spiritual life. That is purely material life. God is just a means of getting material things. So this is Adhyatma, Adhi-Atma, concerning with only God or the Atman. In Gita it is said, what is Adhyatma? Krishna says, Swabhavo Adhyatma Uchyate. Uchyate means it is called. Swabhava is Adhyatma. Our real nature is Adhyatma. Because our real nature is the Atman. Swabhava. Two words. Swa means our own. Bhava means nature. So our own nature is what? God. Atman. Everything else is Parabhava. It cannot be our own. No person, no thing, no circumstance can be our own. Because everything comes and goes. Our mind, our body, our egotism, all this, whole prapancha, what is called, Vishwa Brahmanda, it is all para. Not us. Can never be us. But our problem is, which is in that song, which Swami ji had sung before Sri Ramakrishna, in that Mana Cholo Nijo Niketone, but there is one line there, Poro Preme Hoye Ocheton. You have become so deluded in loving this Parabhava, Bhulecho Atmano Jone. You have forgotten one who is really your own. Now, come, let us go back. Go back to our real home. That is the song. Our real home is there. So, this is called Parabhava, becoming too much attached. This is called attachment to the world. That is why it is decried again and again. You are in the world. Everybody is in the world. You have to make use of things. You have to deal with people. But problem is, if you make that the be all and end all, that is the only source of happiness, nothing else. Whatever little happiness we can get. That is the end. I mean, we can think nothing beyond that. Then it will be a problem. Because you will not get what you want. So life will be a failure. That is why Sri Ramakrishna says, one who has been born as a human being still does not strive for that spiritual attainment. His life is a failure. He will never get what he is seeking. The Upanishads say, Purnatvam param sukham. Purnatva, being completely fulfilled. That is the real happiness. And in the Chandogya Upanishads, we know, answering Narada's question, Sanat Kumara, the great sage, says, Yo vai bhuma tat sukham, na alpe sukham asti. In limited things, there can never be happiness. But is bhuma, which is unlimited, only that can give real bliss. Bhuma actually means, which is, there can be never anything bigger than that. Infinite. So Sanskrit words, that is the speciality, each the root signifies the meaning. So Brahman, we all know what does Brahman stand for. So the root word of Brahman means which is ever expanding. So what can expand ever for all time? That which is infinite. Is it not? So it's a wonderful. So again, to quote Swami Vivekananda, the universe itself can never be the limit of our satisfaction. But we are looking in the wrong direction. So what happens? He says, because we are looking in the wrong direction, a miser gathers more and more money, a robber robs, a sinner sins. All the impulse is the same. Impulse is the same. Freedom. A miser will think the more money I get, the freer I'll be. Robert thinks if I can get his wealth, I can be more free. So although these manifestations are on a very lower level, but all have one purpose. There is no other purpose in life. Save to reach this freedom. Consciously or unconsciously, we are all striving after that. And it is our good fortune that we will all attain it today or tomorrow. But yes, the path is long. Path is long and difficult. Swami Vivekananda does not deny that. He says that. The nectar is there. Eternal life, eternal bliss, eternal knowledge are there for everyone who strives to reach it. And we all will reach it today or tomorrow. But we have to search earnestly. Doing nothing and telling it is difficult. One who searches surely gets. All the saints and sages say. Kabir Das ji says, Jin khoja tin paiya gahre pani pait, main bapura budan dada raha kinare bet. So someone told us that there is a treasure right at the bottom of the ocean. But main kinare baitha raha. I don't want to get wet. Let me, whatever I can get, I'll take here. We won't get. So searching in the right direction with right earnestness. And there is no failure in spiritual life. But whether we are walking slowly, or whether we are running at a high speed, this much is certain, we are bound to reach there. So I will quote with Swami Vivekananda's encouraging words. So in this life, with all its miseries and sorrows, its joys and smiles and tears, one thing is certain, that all beings are rushing towards their goal, that one goal, freedom. And it is only a question of time, only a question of time. When you and I, plants and animals, and every particle of life that exists must reach that infinite ocean of perfection, must attain to freedom, must attain God. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. So now for any objections, any vehement contradictions? Of course. If I know the answer, I will answer. If I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. Yeah, it is. We can hear you.
My question is very simple and don't take it negative because I'm very curious. You mentioned the path is deep and the goal is Sat Chit Ananda. That he also mentioned, matter in the world is not the thing to look after. So my question is really, because path is so difficult, because the goal is not that easy to attain. My question is, one more time, you are in this pursuit more than 40 years.
We are all in that pursuit, whether
No,
we
no,
know
no.
it or not.
No, sir, no. The thing is here, you are dedicated
I don't know.
and
how much
pursuing
dedication
this
I
more
have.
than 40 years. Would you share us your personal experiences and the landmarks we need to look for, so that, I am on the right path. In that context, tell us your experience.
I am just an most ordinary person like anyone here. So I have nothing special to say. Only these people, their experience are such that they can share and they are worth sharing. I am just telling these, my only job which I am fit for is bring these teachings before you. So and I have heard that so many PhDs, IITs are there. So I have deep respect for these people, and in front of them I am absolutely nothing. So only job which God has given me is to bring their words to you. That is all I can do. So I could not adhere to your request because I am simply not fit, not at all.
But can I share my experience and want to hear your comments if I'm on the right path?
See, I don't know anything, so how can I comment? It is best if you go to the source. You compare yours with what Swami Vivekananda has taught, what our saints and sages taught. If it tallies, you are on the right path.
Thank you.
Swamiji, my question is, if peace is within, everything is within, what are the steps that one needs to take to go within?
That is what our scripture, the answer is the huge amount of scriptures we have. It is the answer to this question. So steps is a long journey, and there are a lot of steps you have to go through. So some paths have been delineated. We cannot tell the steps directly because each path is different. So this, if you want to come up, you can come up from here, you can come from there, you can go from there. So those steps are different from these steps. So steps in a general way cannot be said. The main paths, as most of you know, there are 4 main paths. These paths are not watertight compartments. So first path is the path of devotion. Sri Ramakrishna said that is the path for most of us. Second path is the path of work. So even if one wants to practice devotion, he has to work. So as I said, it is not watertight compartment. Third is the path of meditation. Even a devotee has to meditate. Fourth is the path of knowledge. So the steps in all the paths are slightly different. That also I will not say are watertight compartments. To all appearances, they are slightly different just because of the stress they lay on some practices. So we can go to the scriptures regarding the path which we want to follow. Like for yoga path of meditation, we go to Patanjali Yoga Sutras. For devotion, there are so many books, Narada Bhakti Sutras, and of course, Swami Vivekananda has commented on all the 4 paths. Path of knowledge is basically the Upanishads. And what else remains? Karma. Gita is the best manual for Karma Yoga. Thank you.
Maharaj, you were talking about reading something from the Swami Vivekananda article or lecture. Can you give us the reference?
These are from various places. Most of them, I think, is from Jnana Yoga.
So I was just going through some shlokas referred in some books. So in a certain point, they say that the knowledge itself is the Brahman.
Mm-hmm.
The knowledge itself is the Brahman.
First word I couldn't understand.
So-
What itself is Brahman?
The knowledge, the Gnana
Knowledge.
itself.
Yeah. That we have seen. Brahman is of the nature of Satchitananda. Of
Yeah,
knowledge.
I just
bliss.
wanted to get some explanation of that. How they say that? How do they say that the knowledge itself is the Brahman? Nothing else is the.
Explain means, the nature of each thing cannot be explained as far as my knowledge goes. It is there. So, one thing we can, if we want to infer, suppose we want to find, without knowledge there can be no activity. Whenever I do something, some work, there has to be knowledge behind that. Otherwise, I cannot succeed in that work. Is it not? So, the question will come, where does the knowledge in each of us come from? This is what I think can be explained, but somebody may explain it in another way, I don't know. Problem is, you cannot explain in the way which you want the nature of something. Suppose I ask you, why does milk taste like it does? Why does garlic taste pungent? Why does sugar taste sweet? What answer will you give? It is the nature. Sugar tastes sweet, that's all. So the very nature of things, Swamiji again and again has said, the very nature of the world, you cannot explain. It is just facts. This is what it is. But here, there is maybe this way it can be proven that whenever each human being or even an animal acts, there has to be 2 things. First of all, consciousness. This table cannot act upon another table. This chair cannot act upon another chair. So if a human being can act upon something, it has to be conscious first. Is it not? Secondly, this knowledge, this activity, there has to be knowledge behind every activity. A totally ignorant person, who can know nothing, he cannot cognize, he cannot act also. And third thing, we can lead to the other third thing also, that bliss. As we have seen, it is logically impossible to prove that bliss can exist in dull, dead matter. Only something which is alive can give us bliss, is it not? And that presupposes the presence of consciousness. So when something is conscious, it is knowledgeable also, it is our experience. Every day we are experiencing that. So what is a matter of experience? I mean, if one who will explain that is also that is the thing, you see. So if there's so much research on consciousness, I can't understand how to objectify. Swami Vivekananda has again and again said, you cannot objectify consciousness. You cannot take consciousness outside you and put it in a laboratory and analyze it. So if the question is what is consciousness, the only possible answer may be that you are consciousness. So if you want to find the nature of consciousness, find your own nature. And you cannot describe it. How can you describe it? How can you light a thesis on why sugar is sweet? Difficult. At least that is as far as my intelligence goes. Others, you may find better explanations somewhere.
Swamiji, one suggestion. Whenever we feel difficulties in life, okay, sorry. So whenever there are some difficulties in life, that time the search for God is very rigorous, very active in us. I mean, in me at least.
And when difficulties go, it becomes
whenever there is no difficulty, then I mean only namaskara to Swami and go for. So
then you should try to create difficulties.
So as a normal jivatma, I need your advice how to keep this.
It happens.
Search for God.
Nobody can do it for us in one day. Nobody can. The simple answer, as you know, all my answers are only quotations, more or less. So Sri Ramakrishna tells this answer. A child told its mother, "Mother, wake me up when I am hungry." Mother said, "Beta, when you are hungry, you yourself will wake up. I don't need to wake you." So nobody can create this urge for God in us. It is done by our own efforts. If we continue the search diligently, sooner or later there has to come a time, whether misery or happiness, that will not bother us. Finished? Okay, order has come. So after the songs we can do Aarti. Yeah, final we can do Aarti. Okay, headquarters order has come. I am completely powerless.